Ooh. Something you might consider here, which it looks like it's kind of been done, I can see goop, look, is sealing these surfaces a bit more, but it has been done. That film there is a version of that, although it's very thin. So one thing you could do here is consider sealing all of these surfaces. This is interesting. This looks like an add-on part at the top, but it probably isn't. It does look like there's sealant under there. There's sealant inside and all, which isn't helpful. That could have gone in the engine, but to be fair, that would have just shot out. It's shit sealant as well. It's very thin. Let me see, actually, while we're at this stage, does my part marry up to this? Because if it did, most of our problems would be solved. It don't look too far off, does it? Oh my god, it marries up perfectly. Wow. Look, way bigger than the hole. That's a tiny, I mean, that's a ridiculous intake size, that. I'm not sure about that. Something there I'm not sure about. I'm thinking chuck this on, nip it up with the same bolt so that we're sorted there. I've actually got a, I think I have a carb. I've got a brand new carb. That's for that guy's moped, but it wouldn't hurt to just take it out of the box and get some fuel in it. I'm using it next week anyway. Alright, let's do that. I'm going to chuck this on. It marries up perfectly. I got lucky there. I say it marries up perfectly. It might not. But, yeah, I got lucky there. I didn't exactly do it purposefully. I just bought what I found. And this airbox, hopefully I can use this airbox. I just think it would be helpful to have the same airbox. Otherwise, I could even go to that small open air filter, because the actual carb I'll be using isn't a CG style one. It's a diaphragm one, so they just run slightly differently. They run on their own airflow rather than you controlling it with the throttle. It really isn't the end of the world. It's just slightly different in its feeling. Right, let's do this. I can't believe that. I really thought I was going to be faffing about. Let me chuck that. Let me bolt that down. Let me find a carb, even an older one. Or I should just use the brand new one, really. And let me see if, yeah, what we're doing here. This could be great. So look, here we are. I think it's going to work. It definitely fits in the intake. There's no issues there. That bit's easy. It's actually quite big, but I'll put the ring on it. It'll be fine. And I always worry about these suction overflows, but I don't think they're not actually suction. They're not diaphragms. They're actually releasing of air, so they're good. They don't need to go anywhere. They can just go down in the engine. Other than that, that will give me an idea of how this bike's going to run immediately once, if I can get it on properly. That does some of the work. So I'm gonna spend half an hour now doing this, chucking that on. I'll siphon out some fuel if I haven't got any in a tank, and we'll just get that carb filled up and hope that there's enough battery life in here to just kind of kick it over and see how we're looking. One thing with brand new carbs, just check everything. Look, the S fuel screw it looks quite far out for me, but it probably isn't. There, look. But I'm just going to check. It should be 1.5 to 2.5 out, so just give that a rough check. You know, if you're doing this properly, if this is full time and you're chucking this on and you want to leave it, I'm taking the bowl off always and checking the jets, because I've had bikes run like shit before, and one of the jets had literally fallen out where they weren't torqued in. So I am absolutely checking the insides if I'm using this full time. But I'm really using this next week for someone else's moped. I'm just borrowing it now for this test. It's mine, I bought it, but you know what I mean. So I will pop it off next week properly and just check everything. But for now, I'm just so curious as to how this bike's going to run. Saying that, that's proper lazy. I should just pop it off and check it all now. We're not going to have choke. We're not going to have a choke. But these bikes normally run rich enough to not need it. That's the truth. The truth is, it's rarely needed. What you could do is put the choke onto some sort of full-time electric system and onto a switch. So you switched it on for a minute on a really cold day on a switch, and then you switched it back off. That would be fine. I could even use one of the electric systems like this one for something else, something that's not controlled by the ECU though. You'd need a full-time power source and earth source, and then going through a switch. But that's quite complex. If it was left on, the bike would run like crap. So that's all stuff to think about in the near future for now. If I was really lucky, this throttle cable looks very similar. If I'm really lucky, I can use that cable on that carb. Right, let's do this. You're not going to see much in filming. I'm putting the manifold on. I'm going to attempt to put the carb on. I might just put the little air filter on. And yeah, let's do it. So it's not pretty. I really do prefer the CG carbs, but that is what should be a functioning system now. I'm going to see if my little filter thing will fit on there. It wouldn't matter too much at this stage, but I'm just going to see. I just pulled the arm off the other one because it's not, the end is not big enough. It won't. It's nowhere near. So that airbox wouldn't work, but we can find an airbox or something, or use the little air cone. At this stage, it doesn't matter too much. I'm going to be pumping out. I need to find a bottle for this because it's going to be pumping out fuel from the tank. So I just need to catch that. And I'm going to be using my tub set up here, look, to trickle fuel in for now. So as long as the battery has some juice, this could start up. One thing I forgot to talk to you about was I had to take the big old choke system off because it wouldn't, otherwise it touched the frame. And I've created a blocking system there. I've blocked it out. Right, let's see if we piss out fuel when I prime. Shouldn't really. No, it didn't. Oh, and also we ain't got anything. Hang on. No power at all. Oh, we had a flicker of power there. That was weird. Oh, we've got something. We didn't prime, that's good. Alright, I want to save that power because I do want to try and kick it over in a minute. Right, let's get some fuel into the carb. Let me see if my little air filter thing will fit on that. It probably won't because it's designed for the CG one. And then let's see if we can do some sort of startup. I have no idea what's going to happen here. Normally I have a rough idea what's going to happen. I don't know if, because I've disconnected all the computer systems, if it's going to spark at the right time. I don't know if it's going to spark at all. I've disconnected everything. I don't know. What we really need to do is choke. Ooh, I don't know. I'm curious. Let me put the chrome back on because we do want it choke the touch. One of these is the injection, which we kind of don't want as well. But where's the throttle position sensor? And let's see if we can trick it, because ultimately we could keep all them things connected, tape them up, hide them away, and it wouldn't matter, right, if we're just tricking the computer. grey. I can hear spark. I can hear it sparking. Ooh. That's weird, that back kick. That's weird. I've had that before, but that was timing out issues. Why is it doing that now? I think I saw another throttle body system somewhere. It was about 80-90 quid, but it was second hand, so part of me thinks, what's the point? But I might have to go down that route because, well, we're out of options really. Well, I'm going to take this carb off because it's for the other bike, and this is junk really. I'm going to try and buy a new project in the week. I'm selling the Michigan tomorrow in the evening, so I'm going to try and buy another project or two in the week and see what happens. But this one is obviously something that's just longer term really. It's not a quick turnover. The ECU stuff, some people say a lot of this issue is ECU. That's the ECU there. I don't know what version it is. Maybe I need to pull it out and have a good look at another day, but you end up spending a lot of money on this stuff, new injection systems, new ECUs, and it kind of isn't worth it really. There's no point continuing to put hundreds into something that looks like this really. So I don't know. The other thing I could try next week is I could try resealing this. I mean, I think it's fine. It don't even look bad actually. It don't even look like an issue really. Right, let's put it away. There's nothing to do. We've got no other projects. There's nothing to do. So that's it. I don't know where I go next week with this. I'm gonna be honest, I really don't know. If I can find a new throttle body system, I might just buy it. It's what I don't want. It will have to have new sensors. I really don't want to mess around. I can keep the fuel injection, that's fine, but it'll have to have a new throttle precision sensor and whatever the other one is, because they're what's likely to have gone wrong. Otherwise there's just no point. And then I really don't know where I go with this bike long term. The carb conversion was my go-to fix really. Spark did look like it wasn't right there. It didn't look like, I could hear it sparking, but it just didn't look or feel right, especially with the back pressure. So I don't know. I've got the battery out of the Michigan there. Again, I'd be gutted to drive 2.5 hours down to Eastbourne and have a bike die on battery and have no way of boosting it. That would be a terrible, terrible thing for a sale. So I'm chucking it on charge. I don't think it needs it, but why not? I'll keep it in the warmth overnight and I'll chuck it in minutes before I set off to deliver that bike tomorrow. And then in the week, I'm going to look. I've got a couple of bikes I'm watching at the moment. One's a Ducati Monster. I bought it from a guy I've bought bikes off before, but it's in a state. But that's what we do, and also it won't be ULEZ. But saving a Ducati again would be nice, and probably a Piaggio Fly and other couple bits. Yeah. Hey guys, how you doing? I'm in Eastbourne. I just drove the lexmoto Michigan down to Eastbourne to deliver it to someone. Sometimes I really shoot myself in the foot, I do. Like, I didn't need a 6-hour round trip this evening, Monday evening. But it's always about helping people out. That Michigan turned out so beautifully in the end, and it was one of the best running bikes I've had. I just hope it holds out. You know, as with all of these bikes, you just never really know how long they hold out. I mean, to be fair, I don't get much comeback. I normally, at worst, I get people saying something's broke, can you help me? I never really get people angry, which is nice. As in, people, my bikes tend to be okay-ish once I've done my thing, apart from the odd things here and there. Batteries die sometimes and so on. And I'm honest, I say to people, you should get a year out of this bike, and then you're probably going to need to do a bit of work, keep it on the road for a year later. So yeah, what I do have to do this week is pick up 1 or 2 projects with the Profit, and I think I'm going to try and stick to lexmoto, and if I can find a Piaggio Fly, you know I love them. I can't have these Hanways and these shit bikes with no parts available. I can't. They're really, that Hanway's one. I know some of you are laughing at me because I seem to be one of the worst bikes I've ever had. I can't get parts for it. I put a carb on it yesterday and it didn't work. It didn't fire up at all. Terrible bike. So I'm still gonna hammer away at it, but I'm lost. People saying put the CG intake on it. It's the wrong way round. It's the wrong way. The CG intake sits like this. The engine on the Hanway sits that way. It is an FMI engine, but it's a rare one. It actually sits the wrong way. As in the manifold wouldn't work, so the CG carb intake wouldn't work. That is the one I would have liked. Yeah. Anyway, that was meant to be a short video. I don't know how long the shorts are anymore, but we'll see. Guys, thanks for watching. We're always kind of doing this. It's a community. I love the community factor in it. I'm finding myself with less and less time nowadays to get online and talk to you guys. But it's really important. You know, I love the community in this. Thank you so much.